Hello viewers, welcome to Astrons group. Today's video is very important for many of those aspirants who actually wants to get a government job. See, what happens most of the time, as we can see, that when a candidate wants to get into a government job, that candidate actually goes to the market, buys some books or get into a coaching institute, get some nurturing from there, and they feel that those things are enough for cracking any government job exams. Let me tell you something. Those things that a candidate does is a part of the preparation, but that is not all. A candidate, a successful candidate actually does something different. Those are the 10% successful candidates. Other 90% are those they try hard to get into the job, to crack the exam, then they fail to actually achieve the exam. Now let me tell you in this video what is the reason behind that failure and how to actually prepare for a government job. Watch this video from starting till end, as every bit point in it is very important for your preparation. If you like the video, do not forget to like, share and comment. Preparation has two sections, as you can see in the slide. One is research and another is learning. Just to prepare and by heart things what has been told to you is not enough to crack any exams. You need to do certain research other than just learning. Now what are the researches that I am talking about? Let us see this clearly in an elaborated way. First comes the pre-research. Now what is pre-research? In the next slide you will see. Every point is very important. Do look on the points carefully. First is, what are you preparing for? That means, say someone wants to prepare for a bank exam. So the person should know that what they are preparing for. If it is a bank exam, then they should know that if it is an SBI or IBPS. If it is SBI, then there are two exams mostly that have been conducted. The two exams are PO and clerical. The other exam is also there, that is SO, specialist officer. But apart from that, most of the students they actually opt for clerical or probationary officer exams. Same way it goes for IBPS also. So it's very important for the student to know what exams they are going to appear for and what are they preparing for. Detailed exam pattern of the entire exam. Now see, if the candidate is going to appear for some SBI clerical exam, that the candidate should know what is the exam pattern of that particular exam. Say if it is an SBI clerical, then there are certain rounds to be cleared on. The first round is the preliminary exam and then followed by mains exam and then goes towards the other documentation sections. Now before in clerical there were interviews also, but nowadays in clerical they have removed the interview round. So if a person candidate, if an aspirant clears the main exam, that particular student can go for the documentation purpose and can get the job accordingly. Now the student must know, if it is a preliminary exam, then what are the topics that are needed for the exam, how much marks comes for there, how much sectional timing is there, what is the negative marking for that. Same way for the mains, the students should follow every bit of that exam pattern, should write it down, should know about it and prepare accordingly. Why this exam pattern is important? Because if a student doesn't keep a note of that, then the candidate will not know how much speed the candidate needs to appear for the exam. And in such exams, it is not the answer that they seek only, it is the speed, that how much time you take to answer those questions. Speed is very important for that. So to acquire all that, it is very important that you write down in detail the exam pattern of the exam you're going to prepare for. Next particular point is, note on each subject having every topic's name in it. Now see, say in SBI, as I was talking about SBI clerical, let us talk about that. If that is the exam, then for the preliminary or the mains, there are certain fixed subjects that have been needed to appear for the exam. Those are reasoning, then quantitative aptitude, that is mathematical ability, and then English, the general English. These three are major subjects that are needed to crack at least preliminary, with an addition of general awareness that comes, and computer awareness alongside it comes for the mains exams. Now for the candidate who is appearing for that, they should write down what are the 3 subjects or the 4 subjects, and then detail the topics of such subjects. See, if you are studying in a coaching institute, or you are trying to Google it, you will find all the topics that comes under such subject. You should write it down equally, all the topics of the subjects, then mark accordingly what are the things that are needed, how much marks it counts for, etc, etc. So detailed writing of subjects and the topics are very important. See, these parts are equally important as learning is important. If you don't write it down, if you don't organize it properly, if you don't research properly for that, then you are not prepared properly for such exams. The next topic that comes under it is collection of at least last 5 years papers. Now see, what is many students, they actually get the notes, the coaching notes, and from the market they will get different books, but apart from that, there are 5 years question paper which is important for any exam. If it is a competitive exam for government jobs, remember when you used to go for matric exams or 12 exams, you used to actually go through the last 2 years or 3 years exams, how they have come, used to try to solve those exams. Remember that? See, these things are been used from very long time. For such exams in government also, it is very important that you actually get the authenticated previous 5 years papers. You must buy a 5 years paper, go through in every year how many exams have been given in all those exams, say in SBI or IPS, what kind of questions came, from what subject, which topic the questions are, more number of questions or less number of questions, or many marked question or less marked question. You should sync it, you should see it properly, do a research on it, and for that you need to buy the 5 years question paper. It's very important. Next point that comes here, inter-research on the most expecting topics from these last year papers. That's what I was talking about. When you get those 5 years question paper, from that you can actually bring out those questions, those topics from where maximum number of questions you got, or say marks you got. Say for example, if I talk about reasoning, there are topics like inequality, blood relation, direction is there, syllogism is there, logical reasoning is there, where puzzles are there, then data sufficiency is there, input output is there, many topics are there. Likewise in maths also there are many topics, ratio, age, percentage, average, mixture, allegation, profit and loss, etc, etc. So while going through those topics that you have already written down, and when you will see those last 5 years papers, then actually you can analyze from which topic how much marks came. Accordingly you can write the range of marks for such topic and prepare accordingly. See, this is so important, right? Because from some topics some 5 to 10 marks might come, but from some topics only 1 mark might come. So you should know from which topics maximum number of marks are coming, and you should attempt that, right? Okay. So next topic is analysis of each topic as for how many approximation marks they are given to be attempted from these previous papers. See, that's what I told you, that from the 5 years you can actually bring out those topics from where how many range of marks are coming, and you can write it down accordingly. See, this is the pre-research that you should do before you actually start learning. Now after you're done with this pre-research, now you can start your learning. The first is learning phase 1, where you need to go through the concept of the topic, internal questions and solution with tricks, and that should be analyzed properly. See, in this learning phase, it is important that you get the topic. Say example, I'll give you age. Say for maths you took the topic age. See, to go through a speedy way to answer age questions, you must understand the topic first. So for that, you will go through the note of that topic which has been given from your coaching institutes or from any net, from various videos. Gather the concept that what is age and how to do a age question. When you are done with it, you understood what is age and what kind of question comes and how to attempt that. Now the second thing that you should analyze from this learning is that how to solve such questions in seconds. Now to know that, you have to get some tricks, and for tricks you have to do a lot more research on that, like solving the question, trying to use some way of Vedic method to solve that properly, right? So these are the methods you should use to do the questions at earliest possible. Those methods are called as some tricks to do it in seconds, right? So this is the way you should do in learning phase 1 section. When you're done with that, doing all those work for all the topics that has been taught to you, including your maths or reasoning, then you can go for the next section, and that will be your mid research. Now what does mid research says? See, you did pre-research before you start the learning. Then you started the learning of concept of all the topics from each subject. When you're done with the concept, you know how to do the questions, you know how to do it faster, you know many tricks from that. Now comes the mid research. Now what is mid research and what to do in there? See, it's written here only after concept clarification. Let's see that. The first point in here is standard of question paper means analyzing the difficulty level. See, here when you're done with the concept, you can go through the previous year paper again, and when you will see the question from the previous year, you can see that what kind of standard of the question has been given. Say for age or average, you learned the concept, you actually did a lot of questions from that, but while doing the questions you got to know that some questions are quite easy, some are moderate, some are very difficult. Now you should know that out of all these three ranges, easy, moderate and difficult, what kind of range of question that comes for the exam. Say for clerical there might be some leniency in the questions. For PO there might be of a tricky or difficulty level must be a little bit higher than the clerical level, right? So all those things you need to analyze, and you can analyze that only after learning the concept and then doing the research in the previous year again. Next is segregation of the topics based on your easy to tough levels. Say you already wrote the topic's name, right? The subject's reasoning, you wrote all those topics name. Now in those topics, while you did all the concept work and knowing the toughness level of each topic, now you know, say after preparing, say you are very good at blood relation, but you are not so much good in syllogism or decoding. So what you can do, you can actually write down that syllogs, inequality of blood relation, these three are quite easy for me. Any type of question that comes from there can be attempted nicely from my side, and it will be accurate and I can do it faster and I will get the solid marks. So you should select this type of question, I should do it faster in the exams. See, exam strategy is very important, right? So while you know that yes, these topics are quite easy for me and I can do it much faster, you segregate it separately. You segregated that separately and then keep the other topics which are quite tough for you. Though you practice a lot, you are taking a lot of time to solve such question, you keep it for the last. So while you will practice in this scenario, in this system, in exams, while you will be attempting such questions, you can actually do those topics first which are quite easy and accurate, easy and can be done accurately from your side, and you can leave those questions for the later section when you can try that towards the end of your time. And also do not attempt any such questions which you are not sure of the answer. You should leave such questions because you don't want to earn a negative marking for that, right? So this is the segregation what I am talking about. It is better to segregate the easy ones and the difficult ones for your own self. Okay, so this is the mid research that you should go for. The next learning phase, let's see what it is. Next is learning phase 2, that is practice several times. Okay, what is written here? From practice papers, updates from the coaching institutes, practice questions from learning sites, etc. Completing last 5 years papers at least 5 times using stopwatch every time. See, once you're done with a concept, that is not the preparation actually. It is, you are not done with the preparation. See, I told you before in the beginning of the video, that it is not just important to understand and solve any questions, but also it is very important how fast you can do the questions, right? Because in this government job exams, you are given certain time limit and you have to do it much faster. That means solving few questions in a minute or in seconds, right? For that you need to know the tricks using a lot of process. Vedic method is one of the process, right? Okay. Now also there is one more way of doing and solving question faster, that is practicing. Practicing over and over again will lead you to a optimum level that you can cross and compete with the time. All right. So this is very important. So as it is written here, from practice papers, you will get a lot of practice papers online, also offline. You can get some practice papers. You collect those practice papers, you take a printout of it, or you can do solve from a laptop. Also updates from coaching institutes written, say where you are learning, they will provide you numerous questions from each topic. You practice those questions, very important. Also practice questions from learning sites. See, there are many learning sites in the Google. If you Google it, you will find a lot of them are there. For example, the Bankers Adda is there, Olive Board is there, Grade Up is there, many other, Astrons group is there. So you can actually go through any of those sites and they are providing a lot of questions. Try to gather those questions and solve as many questions as you can. Apart from that, completing last 5 years papers. See, 5 years papers, a lot of questions in there, right? So you need to practice all those questions. So you can practice those questions only after learning about topics. Now many students, there is a confusion. Let me clear the confusion out. Many students, what they do, they try to get the concept of all the topics first, say reasoning, maths and English. They will complete the portion completely, taking some 3, 4, 5 months, and then they will start preparing from the previous year paper, practicing from there. You will be very late for that. Do not try to do in this manner. The way I am telling you is different. Let me tell you and clarify it properly for you. All right. See, say you cleared a concept and know properly about a topic, say inequality from reasoning, blood relation from reasoning, ratio from maths, and say percentage from maths. Now we have 4 topics that you have already done properly. 2 from reasoning, 2 from maths. You do one thing, collect the question from the previous year of those topics only. Say you took, say from today I set, say I'm a student and I said today, say I have already done percentage, I know how to do percentage question. Now I'll take out the previous year book, and from first page onwards of every paper I'll take out only the percentage based question and I'll solve it. I'll solve the whole book once. See, this is how I completed one book. The first time I completed, it is just to solve all the questions. Now I'm done with percentage. Now next I'll target, say ratio. I'm done with the ratio. Now ratio from first page, I'll try to get in every paper wherever there is a ratio question, I'll pick it and I'll try to solve it in my rough paper. I'll complete the whole book on ratio. See, out of this 5 years, how many ratio questions you will be getting? Hardly some 20 to 30. It's not some 100, 200 questions you will get. Same way for percentage, how many questions you will get? Hardly 20 to 30 questions. For inequality, same way you will get some 40 to 50 or 80 questions. Not more than that. So such questions you need to complete from the last 5 years. In this way, you can actually take it out that this topic I have practiced, I have done previous year, I have done this many questions, I am done with this topic also done. Now you can continue with the other topic. So every time you learn about a concept, you do practice, you use a previous year paper, you complete it properly. This is how you should do the preparation. See, after this phase 2, there is the next research work that comes. It is called as post research work. Now what is post research work? Let us see in here. That comes only after proper practice using stopwatch. See, you practiced, you used your stopwatch, you completed, you try to complete it in time, you're done with it. Now you do the post research. Now what is post research is talking about? See, we already learned about segregation of topics based on your learning level. See, here we already learned about that when you are done with the topics, we can segregate it properly, right? This is the easier level, this is the tougher level, this is the moderate level. See, when you are done with it, the second point what has been said in here is then set optimum time for each topic within which you need to attempt it in exam. What does it mean? It means that when you're done with the segregation, now you know you have 5 years paper. In the 5 years paper, you can see how the papers have been conducted. And for 20-minute time for preliminary, if you are given 35 marks of reasoning or 35 marks of maths, and you should know that to cover up the 35 marks in 20 minutes, how you are going to segregate the timings, right? That comes with a stopwatch practice. When you're done with the stopwatch practice, you can segregate it. Now, how to segregate? Say in reasoning, you can do blood addition, direction and inequality faster. Keep it in the phase upper level. So first, when you into the exam, you will do solve such questions before you're solving any questions which is difficult. This way you can segregate, say, inequality. After a lot of practice, 5 questions you can do solve in less than a minute or less than 1.5 minute. That is actually reasonable. You can actually solve in 1.5 minutes 5 questions of inequality from reasoning. It's quite easy with proper practice. Same way for, say, percentage, one mark question you are able to solve in less than 20 seconds. Say, these are the things you already got to know. So accordingly you time it. You time it for percentage. If it is 5 questions, I will take this much time. For inequality, if it is a 5 question, I will take this much time. You segregate according to the timing. If you do segregate in this manner, you can practice accordingly. And if you practice in this manner, then in the exam, you can actually solve it much faster. And actually, out of 35 marks, you will be able to cover up at least near to 28 to 30 marks minimum I'm talking about. So this is a good news, right? But that happens only when you practice using the stopwatch, making a proper time duration for each topic, each question according to your own skill. Remember that, according to your own skill. Do not forget that. Okay, so we're done with the post research. Next is the last one, and that is learning phase 3, and we're talking about mock papers. Very important. Give as much mock papers as you can from Astrons group and various other learning sites. See, we provide a lot of mock papers in our sites, and site we're talking about actually Facebook site, Astrons group. When you type Astrons group in Facebook, you will see our page, and a page we provide a lot of mock papers just before the exams. So you try to solve as many mock papers as you can. Apart from Astrons group, there are many other learning sites like Olive Boards and GradeUp. They also provide a lot of mock papers. So what I want here for you is that solve as many mock papers as you can. This is going to be very, very helpful for you to attempt in your main exams. But this mock papers comes at the end of your learning phase. See, previous year paper doesn't come at the end of your learning phase. That comes along with your learning phase. But mock papers comes at the end of your learning phase. When you're done with the learning, you are quite prepared, you are quite strong with your all preparation, you go for the mock papers. Give as many mock papers as you can. Now see, all these things that we have learned, we need to track it, right? We need to track it. We're going to talk about the tracking thing now. How to track the exams. See, this is TOR, Table of Record Maintenance. Now what is TOR, Table of Record, right? See, I'm going to show you one slide where I have drawn a table for your own self. Every week, give yourself a target. Complete the target accordingly, and at the end of that week, draw a report out of it and analyze how did your preparation go. Keeping a track of your record actually gives you motivation, and you actually will be able to compete a lot of students with the timing and go ahead accordingly. So let's check out the table. So this is the table I'm talking about. I'm going to detail it properly. Listen very carefully what I'm talking about. This is a big example of the record. I've given a few examples that if you select such topic, how we are going to write it down. See, just a second. Let me take out the laser pointer. Done. Okay. The format and an example of it. Table of record. Record of the week, say random week you take, say the next week is coming, so you write down the date of the week, say 8 March 2020 to 14 March 2020. Say example, it's an example. There's a serial number, subject which you are opting, the topics, concept, research on tricks, updates from the questions from where you are taking the updates, and then practice papers, question from learning sites, previous year papers, and remark. Now let me detail it properly what I have written, why the topics have been written accordingly. Alright. Say for the coming week, all right, for the coming week preparation, say I have selected 2 maths topic and 1 reasoning topic. Let the maths topic be simplification and the other maths topic is average and the reasoning topic is inequality. Now concept, first thing we talk about concept in phase 1 of learning, right? When you're done with the concept that you can do any type of question from simplification and you're cleared with the topic, you write it cleared, that any type of question that comes you will be able to answer properly. Now for that simplification, see research on tricks. See what I'm talking about is a Vedic method. There are many methods through which you can actually solve the question in seconds or a minute, right? So whatever tricks you have actually researched and you have taken out, you will maintain a copy of that. Okay, the copy will be a copy of a trick, the trick copy. So in that trick copy you will maintain the page numbers, say some 3, 4, 5, 6, some 100 page numbers are given, and you started from simplification. You have done a research on simplification, you have completed simplification, you write the topic simplification, then write down the types. There are some 3 types are there. For each type what kind of questions comes, show the looks of the question, then write down the tricks that from this side you have found out these tricks. If this such question comes, this is a Vedic method I can use to solve it faster. See, these are tricks are maintained in that copy. You write down the page number of that. So when you see the chart, you will know for such topic in which the page number the trick has been given. You don't have to go and search it. Okay, let me search where the trick is there. Every time you will search, you will not get it. So if you keep a track on it, you'll be able to find out the trick as fast as possible to revise on. Alright, so it is very important you write down the page number for the trick copy that you maintain for the tricks. Next, update questions from. Okay, so update questions from say institute from where you are learning, or you have got update questions from say many questions from many learning sites, etc. So you're going to write it down here. Say from the coaching institute you have taken, say 80 questions you got the update questions, and 3 times, that means you have practiced 3 times. Once completing the whole thing, second completing randomly, third completing it using the stopwatch. Remember what I'm saying, 80 questions. Once completing normally, second completing from in between, third using the stopwatch to complete any questions. These are the 3 times you should do it. Same way you can go for the average and inequality. Okay, let's see the next one is practice papers. So here practice papers are 4 practice papers source. Say here the practice papers I'm talking about the offline ones. See, you went to the market, you bought some practice papers or a book where practice papers are there, you get a lot of practice papers from there. So you can write, say today I have done 4 practice papers. Write down the source from where this particular book name is this, from there I have done 4 papers. Accordingly, questions from learning sites. See, from online also you will get a lot of practice papers. Say you got from Astrons page you got some questions, or any other learning sites you got some questions. How many number of questions you solved? You write down the number of questions. Say 48 questions I have done from Astrons groups. There are other learning sites. You write down the learning site name. I have done 20 questions, etc. Then previous year paper. Say this particular week you need to complete the previous year from 2015 to 2019 or 20 say. Now say you tried hard but you could complete only 2015 and 2016. There are a lot of questions but you couldn't go for 2017, 18, 19. You didn't had so much of a time, but you completed all papers. You completed all papers from 2015 and 16. So what remark may you have to write down all those years that you have not completed. So in remark you need to write down about all those years that you are need to complete and haven't completed yet. This process you're going to do for average also and also reasoning. Now supposedly reasoning inequality is there, you completed simplification average, inequality you cleared the concept, but tricks you're not done yet. You're still on the research, you're still writing the tricks, you're not cleared yet. So you cannot move forward. You can write your on process, then you can go for the how many update questions you have done, 70 questions, 4 times you have done. Say practice papers, because you are not done with the tricks, you didn't touch your practice papers, you didn't touch your learning size, you didn't touch previous papers. Okay, fine, that is okay. The whole week you completed simplification average properly, but there are certain things that are left out. You write down in a remark what are things are left out. These left out things will be carried to your next week alongside the other topics that you will select for the next week. So this is how you will maintain the TOR. These are the points that I've said which every successful candidate does it all the time. and that's from experience I'm saying. You want to get into a job, just preparing and learning is not enough. These things are equally enough. Learning about a topic, solving the question faster than ever, then making a strategy of that exam to solve properly in your main exams. These things are very important for you to do it in your preparation level. See, preparation is not about just by hearting. It is about research and learning. I hope this video became quite useful for you, and do hear it all the time what I have said while preparing, and use the chart, make it in Excel or draw it in your copy as you want to do it. Is up to you, but maintain it properly. Thank you.